The arena lights flickered like dying stars, and the metal floor shook under Lena's small feet. She was only 8 years old, but the moment felt too big, too heavy, too strange for any child to understand. Alien guards with tall bodies and glowing eyes stood behind her, their hands pushing her forward. She did not cry. She only held her tiny backpack close to her chest, the only thing she had brought from home before everything changed. Ahead of her, a giant steel gate stood like the mouth of a sleeping monster. It was covered in claw marks, deep and sharp, as if something inside had tried to break out many times. The sound of chains pulling upward began to echo across the arena. The gate was rising. Dust floated in the blue air, and the crowd of alien spectators whispered in their strange voices. They waited for the beast to come out. They waited to watch what they believed would be the end of the little human girl. Lena took a slow breath. She did not understand why these aliens had brought her here. She did not know what crime she had done. She only remembered waking up inside a cold room far away from Earth, confused and scared. Even now, she did not understand most of their words, but she understood fear and she could feel it all around her. The guards behind her stepped back as the gate lifted fully. They did not want to stand near her when the beast came out. A deep growl rolled from the darkness behind the gate. It was not a normal growl. It vibrated through the metal floor and through Lena's small shoes. The arena lights grew brighter to reveal something moving inside the shadows. Heavy steps. Slow breathing. A pair of gold eyes opened, glowing like molten fire. The creature stepped out. It was massive, larger than any animal Lena had seen in books or videos. Its body was covered in thick scales that shimmered like steel. Its tail dragged behind it, leaving scratches across the floor. Its claws clicked loudly with every step. The creature, the one the aliens called the Vorax, looked like something from a nightmare. But Lena stayed still. Her heart pounded, but she did not run. She knew running would only make things worse. The Vorax lifted its head. The arena went silent. It saw the child standing alone, small and fragile. The aliens leaned forward in their seats, expecting the creature to charge. They expected the battle to last only seconds. But something strange happened. The Vorax did not roar. It did not attack. It simply stared at her as if confused. Lena slowly knelt down and placed her backpack on the floor. She opened it with shaking hands. She knew she had only one thing that made her feel safe. Her little comfort light. It was a small round toy that glowed with soft, warm colors. Her father had given it to her during a storm to help her sleep. It was the only thing left that felt like home. She held the glowing toy in her hand. The colors spread gently across the floor. The Vorax tilted its head, surprised by the light. It took one careful step forward. The aliens gasped. The guards raised their weapons, ready to attack the beast if it rushed. But the Vorax did not rush. It moved slowly, almost shyly. Lena swallowed hard. She lifted the glowing toy a little higher so the creature could see. The Vorax lowered its huge head until its golden eyes were level with hers. She felt its warm breath brush against her hair. She closed her eyes for a moment, trusting the light she held. The creature sniffed the air, then made a low sound, softer than before. It sounded almost gentle. Lena opened her eyes again and met its gaze. Her voice was small but calm. "It's okay," she whispered. The Vorax blinked once. Then it did something no alien in the arena had ever seen. It sat down. The ground trembled as its weight settled. The glowing toy reflected off its scales, creating bright patterns across its body. The crowd went silent. The guards lowered their weapons in shock. The alien leaders stood up from their seats, unable to believe what they were seeing. The beast that never obeyed anyone had stopped. It had listened. It had calmed down because of a human child no taller than its leg. Lena slowly reached out her hand, her fingers trembling in the cold air. The Vorax leaned forward and touched her palm with its warm, scaly nose. She felt its breath again, but this time it felt soft, like greeting a friend. The entire arena froze. No one understood what had just happened. No one could accept it. But Lena felt something different. She felt that the creature was not a monster. It was scared too, just like her. And in that strange moment, inside a cold alien arena far from Earth, a small girl and a powerful beast shared the first spark of trust that none of the aliens had ever imagined. Lena kept her small hand rested on the warm nose of the Vorax. The arena was so silent that even the buzzing lights above seemed afraid to make noise. The aliens who had come to watch expected chaos, fear, and a quick end. Instead, they watched something that felt impossible. A child and a beast stood together like old friends meeting again after many years. The Vorax blinked its golden eyes slowly, almost peacefully. It was a creature built for battle, known for destroying anything it touched. Yet now it stayed still, its huge body relaxed in front of an 8-year-old human girl. Lena's fingers trembled, but she did not pull away. She could feel the beast's breath against her hand. It was warm, steady, and strangely calm. Lena took a deep breath and lowered herself gently to the ground, sitting cross-legged. She placed her glowing comfort light in front of her, letting the colors shine across the floor. The Vorax watched the little toy with interest, tilting its head from side to side like a curious animal. The light shifted from blue to green to pink, soft and calming. The beast lowered its giant head until it rested on the floor only a few inches from the toy. The aliens whispered in confusion. None of them understood what was happening. Some believed the girl was using hidden human power. Others thought the beast was broken or sick. A few even ran out of the arena in fear, afraid the Vorax was preparing some new, unknown attack. But nothing violent happened. The creature simply watched the colors and breathed quietly. Lena slowly reached into her backpack again. She pulled out a small packet of food, just a little snack she carried everywhere. She held it in both hands and looked at the Vorax. She knew it was dangerous to offer food to an animal she didn't know, but something inside her told her it would be okay. She opened the packet and placed a tiny piece on the floor. The Vorax sniffed the air. It moved its head closer, its nostrils flaring. The aliens tensed, waiting for the beast to snap, to roar, to attack. But instead, it gently picked up the piece of food with the tip of its tongue. It made a small sound afterward, almost like a hum of approval. Lena smiled softly. "You like it?" she whispered. The Vorax blinked once, then nodded its massive head in a slow, almost thoughtful motion. It was not a clear yes, but it was enough for her. She placed another small piece on the floor. Again, the creature accepted it, careful and calm, as if it understood how fragile she was. Aliens across the arena stared in disbelief. Some leaned forward, stunned. Others backed away, afraid of whatever new bond was forming. A commander standing near the top row slammed his hands on the railing, shouting orders that echoed through the arena. Guards rushed in with energy shields, panicked and clumsy. They did not want the girl hurt, but they were even more afraid of what this strange behavior meant. The Vorax reacted instantly to the guard's sudden movement. It did not roar or attack, but it lifted its head quickly, placing its massive body between Lena and the guards. A low growl rumbled in its chest, not angry but protective. The energy shields flickered as the guards hesitated. They had never seen the beast defend anything, let alone a human child. Lena reached out again and touched the creature's side, her hand barely covering one scale. "It's okay," she said softly. "They won't hurt me." Her voice cut through the tension like warm sunlight. The Vorax turned its head slightly, listening to her. The growl softened. The guard stepped back, unsure if they should move closer or retreat. The commander shouted again, ordering them to take the girl away, but no one dared walk forward. The beast's golden eyes were too focused, too alert. Lena stood up slowly. She walked a few steps around the Vorax's head, moving gently so she didn't scare it. The creature followed her movements carefully, its tail shifting behind it. She placed her hand on its giant cheek and smiled again. The Vorax closed its eyes for a moment as if enjoying the contact. It was then that the aliens realized something unbelievable. The beast obeyed the little human girl. It responded to her voice. It moved to protect her instead of harming her. It trusted her. Lena looked around the arena at the confused faces staring down at her. She did not know what the aliens wanted from her or why they had brought her here, but she understood one thing very clearly now. The Vorax was not a monster. It was alone, frightened, and treated like a weapon. She felt sorry for it. She picked up her comfort light again and held it close to the creature's face. The lights reflected in its golden eyes. She leaned forward and whispered something only the beast could hear. "You don't have to be scared anymore." The Vorax touched its nose gently against her shoulder. The crowd gasped again. But Lena stood tall, small yet brave, feeling something grow between her and the creature. Something beyond fear, beyond logic, something the aliens could not explain. Something impossible was happening, and it had only just begun. The arena lights grew brighter as more aliens entered the viewing platforms. News spread fast. The Vorax, their most dangerous beast, was sitting quietly beside a human child. No one could understand it, and that confusion quickly grew into fear. The alien leaders whispered among themselves, some worried, some angry, some simply shocked. The calm scene below looked wrong to them. It felt like the start of something they could not control. Lena stood close to the Vorax, her tiny hand resting gently against its warm scales. The creature stayed still, like a giant mountain protecting a single flower. The guards around the arena held their energy shields tighter. They did not know what to do. If they approached the girl, the beast growled. If they backed away, their leaders shouted at them. Everything was turning into chaos, and Lena, without meaning to, was at the center of it. The alien commander, a tall being with 4 glowing eyes, slammed his staff against the railing. His voice echoed across the arena, sharp and angry. He demanded that the guards separate the child and the beast immediately. The guards looked at each other, unsure. They had seen how the Vorax reacted when anyone came close to Lena. None of them wanted to risk their lives. The Vorax lifted its head as the shouting grew louder. It made a low rumbling sound, not loud but enough to shake the air. The aliens panicked at once. Some ran for the exits. Others hid behind the thick walls. They all expected the beast to break loose and destroy everything. But again it did not move from Lena's side. Instead, it turned its head and studied the crowd as if warning them to be calm. Lena could feel the tension rising. She held the comfort light closer, the warm colors glowing across her hands. She looked up at the Vorax and whispered, "It's okay. They are just scared." Her voice was soft, but somehow the creature understood. The rumbling stopped and the beast lowered its head again. The alien scientists rushed into the arena, carrying strange devices and screens. They hid behind a transparent shield that extended like a wall made of light. They pointed their scanners at the girl and the beast, trying to understand what was happening. Numbers flashed across their screens. The aliens whispered, confused and frustrated. One of the scientists shouted something in their language, waving her arms in panic. The others crowded around her screen. Something in the readings frightened them even more. Their voices rose higher and faster. They believed Lena was giving off some unknown human energy. Some argued she was dangerous. Others said she was controlling the Vorax. No one agreed. The more they talked, the more frightened they became. Lena watched them with wide, confused eyes. She did not know their language, but she understood fear. She could see it in the way their hands shook and how they avoided looking at the Vorax directly. She took a small step forward, trying to show she meant no harm. But the moment she moved, half the guards raised their weapons. The Vorax reacted instantly. It rose to its full height, towering over everyone, spreading its wings slightly even though it had no intention to fly. The ground shook under its weight. The beast stood between Lena and the guards like a living wall. Its golden eyes glowed brighter, warning anyone who dared to come closer. The guards froze. Their hands shook. Sweat ran down their faces. They wanted to obey their commander, but they also wanted to live. The commander shouted again, angrier this time, demanding they move. But no one moved. The Vorax's protective stance was too frightening. Lena reached up and pressed her hand to the beast's leg. The Vorax looked down at her and slowly, very slowly, lowered its wings. It bent its head again, settling in a calm but watchful posture. The aliens stared, speechless. They had never seen the creature listen to anyone, not even its trainers. Yet here it was, obeying a child. The scientists grew even more desperate to understand. One of them activated a large device that sparked with blue light. A beam scanned across the Vorax, then across Lena. The machine let out a strange tone and flashed red. The scientists gasped. They believed the readings proved something impossible. The energy around the girl and the beast matched. Their emotions were sinking. The aliens started to argue loudly. Some feared the Vorax had bonded with the child. Some thought the child was a threat. Others thought she was a miracle. Their panic grew like a storm with no end. Lena felt small and overwhelmed. She hugged her backpack tightly and stepped back toward the Vorax. The creature leaned down and nudged her gently, like a giant telling her not to worry. Somehow, that small movement made her feel brave again. The aliens continued shouting. The guards kept trembling. The commander kept giving orders no one followed. Everything in the arena was falling apart. But Lena stood beside the Vorax, calm in the middle of chaos, not knowing that her simple kindness had just changed everything the aliens believed about humans, beasts, and the power of gentle hearts. The alien scientists worked through the night, their glowing screens filling the arena with soft blue light. The Vorax slept beside Lena like a giant curled mountain, its breath deep and steady. Lena sat with her back resting against its warm side, holding her comfort light close to her chest. She was tired, hungry, and confused, but she felt safer with the beast than with the aliens staring at her from behind their shields. Above her, in a high glass room, the alien council gathered in panic. They replayed every moment from the arena again and again, trying to understand how a human child had tamed the strongest creature in their world. They argued loudly, their voices sharp and scared. Some believed Lena was dangerous. Others believed she was special. None of them understood the truth yet. A young alien scientist named Terran stepped forward, holding a tablet filled with results from hours of scanning. His hands shook as he spoke. He explained that the energy field around the Vorax was reacting to something inside Lena. Not to her clothes, not to her toy, not to anything she carried. It reacted to her emotions. Her calmness. Her compassion. Her kindness. The older scientists dismissed him at first. They said human emotions were weak and chaotic. They said humans were small and simple. They said no child could influence a creature built for war. But Terran refused to step back. He played recordings of the Vorax's heartbeat changing when Lena spoke. He showed scans of its brain relaxing when she touched it. He showed evidence that no alien had ever been able to create such a gentle reaction. Not with training, not with drugs, not even with technology. The council fell silent. Below them, the Vorax slowly opened its golden eyes and lifted its head. It looked at the glass room, sensing the tension. Lena sat up too, rubbing her sleepy eyes. She didn't know what the aliens were saying, but she could tell they were talking about her. And she didn't want them to be afraid. She stood up and walked toward the center of the arena. Her small steps echoed. The scientists tensed. The guards raised their shields a little higher. The Vorax stood too, worried she might go too far from its side, but it stayed calm because she looked calm. Terran hurried down the stairs into the arena. He stood behind the energy shield, afraid to come closer but desperate to understand. He pressed a button that translated his words into basic English. "Human child," he said carefully, "how did you calm the Vorax?" Lena looked up at him. Her eyes were tired but warm. "I wasn't trying to calm him," she said softly. "He was scared. I could feel it." Terran blinked in confusion. "You could feel its fear?" Lena nodded. "He was shaking when he came out. His breath was very fast. I thought maybe he needed someone to be calm with him." The aliens stared. They didn't understand how she noticed such small things. They didn't understand how she knew something none of their machines detected. Terran asked again, "You did not use any power? Any human skill?" Lena shook her head. "I just didn't want him to be alone." The Vorax moved closer, lowering its head beside her like it wanted to confirm her words. Lena placed her hand on its cheek with simple trust. Terran recorded everything. The council watched with wide eyes. For the first time they realized something important, something they had never considered. Humans might be physically weaker than many alien species, but they had something powerful that machines could not measure. Empathy. The ability to understand another being's feelings. To sense fear, sadness, loneliness. To respond with kindness instead of control. It was a simple idea to Lena, but to the aliens it was shocking. They had trained the Vorax with force. They had used fear and punishment. They believed strength came from domination. But a small child showed them that strength could come from gentleness too. The council argued again, but this time their voices were different. Softer. Curious. The scientists suggested studying human emotions more closely. Some leaders even wondered if humans could teach the Vorax's species a new way of living. Terran stepped forward again. "This human, she has changed the Vorax. She made a bond no alien has ever made. Maybe humans are not weak. Maybe they are something we do not understand yet." Lena didn't understand all their words, but she knew something important was happening. She looked up at Terran. "Can I go home?" she asked quietly. The scientists hesitated. They still had many questions, but they were no longer looking at her like a threat. They looked at her with respect. The Vorax nudged her gently as if saying it would stay with her no matter what. Terran bowed his head. "We will try," he said. "But first, we must learn the truth of your kind." Lena didn't know what that meant, but she felt something new in the air. The aliens were no longer afraid of her. They were curious. They were hopeful. And all of it began because a small child had looked at a terrifying creature and seen not a monster, but a heart that needed kindness. The first light of a new day spread across the alien city, soft and pale. Lena stood near the center of the arena, her small hand resting on the Vorax's warm scales. The beast stood tall beside her, calm and quiet, its golden eyes watching everything around them. For the first time since she arrived, the arena felt peaceful. No shouting. No fear. Only quiet wonder. The alien council members gathered again above her, but their faces were different now. They no longer looked angry or confused. They looked thoughtful. They had spent the whole night discussing what Lena had shown them. A human child had changed the strongest creature in their empire without any force, without any tools and without any training. It was something their science had never explained. Terran, the young scientist, approached Lena with a gentle step. He carried a small translator box in his hands. When he spoke, his words came out in simple English. Human child. Lena, he said softly, the council has made a choice. They do not want to harm you. And they do not want to harm the Vorix anymore. Lena let out a small breath of relief. She hugged her comfort light close. So, I can go home? She asked again, hoping the answer would be yes this time. Terran lowered his head. We are trying. Your home is very far. But we want to help now. The Vorix lowered its head beside Lena, touching her shoulder gently. She could feel its warm breath, steady and comforting. It had become her protector, her friend, her safe place in a strange world. The council members stepped down from their platform and approached slowly. They no longer carried weapons or shields. They wanted to see the child who had changed everything. The leader, an older alien with silver lines across his skin, bowed his head to her. We have treated your kind as weak, the translator said. We were wrong. Lena looked at him with honest eyes. I wasn't trying to show anything, she said. I just didn't want him to be scared. The council leader paused, deeply moved by the simplicity of her words. His people had used fear for generations. They believed strength came from control. But now they understood something new. Strength could come from kindness too. And that frightened them in a different way, not because it was dangerous but because it was something they had never imagined. The council leader turned to the scientists. We will open a study, he said. Not to use the child's power but to learn from her people. Humans feel emotions differently. They understand creatures in ways we do not. Terran nodded with hope in his eyes. Maybe humans can help us teach the Vorix to live without fear, he said. Maybe they can help us understand ourselves too. Lena listened quietly. She didn't understand everything but she understood enough. The aliens wanted to change. They wanted to learn. And for the first time they were treating the Vorix with respect instead of fear. The beast nudged her gently again as if asking permission for something. Lena smiled and placed her hand on its giant cheek. Can he come with me? She asked softly. The scientist looked surprised. Come, with you. Lena nodded. He's my friend. I don't want to leave him alone. The council discussed for a long moment. The Vorix watched them, waiting, its tail resting quietly behind it. Finally the leader spoke again. If your people allow it, the Vorix may stay with you. It has chosen you. We cannot stop that bond. Lena smiled for the first time since she arrived on this planet. It was small, soft, and full of hope. She hugged the Vorix's huge head, and the beast made a warm sound that echoed across the arena. The aliens watched in awe. They had never seen a creature of war show affection. They had never seen a human child stand so calmly beside something so powerful. It was a new beginning for them, a new path they had never walked before. The council leader stepped closer. We will help you return to your home, he said. And when you do, the Vorix will go with you. Your bond is strong. It may even teach your people as you have taught us. Lena looked up with wide eyes. Really? Really? The translator confirmed. She felt tears gather, but they weren't sad tears. They were warm, happy ones. She had survived something impossible, but she had also changed something impossible. She had turned fear into trust. She had turned a monster into a friend. Terran approached her one last time. You have shown us something powerful, he said quietly. Not with strength, but with heart. Lena nodded, holding her comfort light close. She looked at the Vorix, her friend, her guardian. Soon they would travel a long journey together, back to Earth, back to her home. And somewhere far above the arena, the path forward began to open, not for Lena alone but for humans and aliens alike. A path shaped by a small child and the strongest creature in the galaxy. A new path built from the simplest truth. Kindness can change everything.